well, now we don't have a whole bunch of people. All right,
Working on.
all right. Are they in the kitchen or something? Not much to do.
No, they're not.
Anyway, it's okay. Oh, this is what I need. Yeah, this is what I need. That's right. Now. Okay. Oh my God. Tirandasya. Yananjana Shlakaya. Chakshudamilitam Jena. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Gurave Gaurachandraya. Radhikaya Tadalaya. Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya. Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Yam Pravajantam Anupeta Apeta Krityam. Tapayano Vrahakatada Ajuhava. Putrikitan Maitaya Tadavo Vinedus. Tam Savabhutam Hridayam Munimanasmi. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chavanarottamam Devim Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Kirtashta Kamari Tarangamadye Kripamaitam Sharanam Papana Vrinde Namaste Charanara Vindam Tavevasmi Najivami Tvaya Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tam Nainam Charanandike Vancha Kaputarupascha Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Okay, so this is the day of Sri Krishna Janmastami, the birth of Swayam Bhagavan Sri Krishna. We are in Bhaktibandav Dham in Ellensville, New York. Oh, what's going on? What is this?
Recording, live.
Oh, just recording? Are you sending it anywhere?
Live stream.
It's live.
To?
The world, Mars.
Oh, nobody's watching this. It's okay.
It says there are 47 people.
What?
100.
No, from where? Really? You're
Yeah.
lying.
We're 6 fingers.
43.
Really?
No.
How many? 2, 3?
43 minus
4, 2, 3.
It's a work in progress, Marge. How do you everybody?
Anyway, I'm used to no audience. I'm good with no audience. Hey, wait a minute. What use is this down here?
Not in people's eyes.
Oh, well,
I think
It's perfect. However you want.
Perfect.
it's kind of in my eyes too, but otherwise I can't see.
you want Krishna.
So, on this day, we've been speaking in the morning. We've had, 2 hours in the morning, then another 2.5 hours, almost 3. But tonight, we wanted to say some things about the appearance of Sri Krishna and include the specialities introduced by Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Raj, helping us understand the special reason and purpose of Sri Krishna's appearance. Because most people, if you read Bhagavad Gita and read the verses in the 4th chapter, Krishna describes his appearance, why he comes, when he comes. There are 2 very famous shlokas. Everybody that reads Bhagavad Gita knows these 2 shlokas. We hope. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhutanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. And that's translated, whenever there's a decline in religion or dharma and an increase in irreligion or adharma, at that time I appear myself in my eternally perfect transcendental form. And then he goes into a little bit more detail. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam dharma samstarpanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. And Srila Prabhupada translates that in order to protect the devotees and annihilate the miscreants, demoniac people, and to reestablish religion, I appear in every yuga. And these are general definitions that are accurate definitions. And Krishna says, I appear in every yuga, every millennium. So we understand that the way that time cycles in this world is that there are 4 yugas in succession. We begin with the Satya Yuga, and then there is generally Dwapara Yuga, and then Treta Yuga, although sometimes they're reversed, and then Kali Yuga. And in each of these yugas, the Lord will appear for these basic purposes. To establish the Yuga Dharma, the particular religious system that's applicable for that age, and to resurrect and reestablish, because in this world, the nature of the material energy is that whatever you see here tends to go into decline. In material science, they have this rule of thermodynamics that says whatever you see complex things, over time they become less complex. In other words, things deteriorate, things break, things wear down. But that's also true with religion. And it's also true in the whole history of humanity, because if you take the Satya Yuga as the beginning of the human age cycle, there people are endowed with very high qualities, very religious, very disciplined, and very pious. But gradually, age after age, the qualities of humanity begin to diminish. And by the time that Krishna was prepared to appear at the end of the Dwapara Yuga, there was a great deal of decline. In fact, the Srimad Bhagavatam describes that the demigoddess, the goddess of the earth, who's in charge of the earth, protects the earth, her name is Bhumi, was so distressed by the sinful activities of the ruling kings of the world. In a dharmic culture, a dharmic religious society, the kings are also very religious themselves, and they take instruction from the priestly class, the brahmanas, and they uphold religious principles. But the Bhagavatam describes that by the end of the Dwapara Yuga, the earth was filled with kings who were actually very religious, who were posing as kings, but actually didn't have the right to call themselves kings, because a king, his actual responsibility, his first responsibility is to uphold religion and protect the people by that. But by this time, there were many, many demoniac kings, and religion was being neglected. And so sinful activity was pervading the earth, and the earth was overburdened. So she went to Lord Brahma, the creator of this universe, secondary creator, the chief of the demigods, and requested him that you please help me do something about this, because the things are so terrible now, I can't bear this. So Lord Brahma, accompanied by all the demigods, went to the place of Shirdaksha Vishnu, his planet, and Lord Brahma went to deep meditation and prayed. And at that time, the Lord came to him internally in meditation and said, yes, I know what's going on in the world. I do plan to come. I'm going to come very soon. So I'm going to come myself, and I want my associates, you demigods, should also appear. You should go to Vrindavan, you should go to Mathura, you should go to other places and assist me in my pastimes. And I'm instructing my internal potency, Yogamaya, to create the conditions ready for my appearance. So, this verse though, Paritranaya Sarunam, Vinashaya Chadushkatam, it says in general for the protection of sadhus, of good people, right? Of devotees also. And Dharma Sangstarpanaya, establishing Dharma. If we look at the general meaning of that, it means that Krishna's coming to teach religion. And he's going to protect Brahmins and pious people and kill demons. But there's a much deeper way of looking at this. And if you look at it in a deeper way, in relation to the appearance of this Krishna at this time, it takes on much more meaning, because generally in every age an avatar of Krishna appears. And they come to teach general Yuga Dharma, and to teach the worship of the Lord in Vaikuntha, the Lord of Vaikuntha, to teach the worship of the Lord in awe and reverence, in opulence. But very rarely, once an entire day of Brahma, the original Sri Krishna himself, the source of all the other incarnations, the original, full, complete Supreme Personality of Godhead, will appear himself. And when he appears himself, that verse takes on a much deeper meaning. And this is described and revealed to us in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the 4th chapter of Adi Lila. And Krishna himself is speaking here. He talks about the way that people generally worship him. And he says, generally, the universe is filled with a conception of my majesty, my power, my greatness. Okay? But love expressed towards me with a sense of that majesty, it doesn't fully satisfy me. It weakens that kind of love. And he says, if one regards me as the Supreme Lord and himself as a subordinate, I don't become subservient to that love. It can't control me. He says, people can worship me however they like, in whatever transcendental mellow or form that they want to worship me. I will reciprocate with them. That's my natural behavior. Yayatam mam prapadyante tangs tatava bhajamyaham. I'll reward and reciprocate with devotees however they want to reciprocate with me. However, he says that if one has a special kind of pure loving devotion to me, thinking of me as his son, or a friend, or a beloved, and regards himself even greater than me, or perhaps my equal, I become subordinate to that kind of intimate love, that confident love, he says. He says that, and then Krishna's Kaviraj reveals something very special. He begins to reveal the sentiments of the devotees in Vrindavan, the place of the original personality of Godhead. And this original personality of Godhead is described in the 3rd chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam. In the 1st canto, the conception of this form of Krishna, this form of God, and this form of Dharma that he's come to reveal. In the 3rd chapter, there is a list, a brief summary of all the major incarnations that would appear during a day of Brahma. But then he says, out of all of them, Ete Chamsa Kalak Pumsa, Krishna Stu Bhagavan Swayam, Indriyadi Vokalam, what is it? Indriyadi Vokalam, what is it? Rasik. Indri, oh, he's not here. Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. Anyway, I come to kill the enemies of Indra, and I appear lifetime, you get, no. What? Oh, you were going to chant that verse. Okay, what did you say? Indriyadi. Anyway, I come to kill these enemies of Indra, but in what form? He's saying, Ete Chamsa Kalak Pumsa Krishna Stu Bhagavan Swayam. Out of all those incarnations that I described before, the origin of all of them is Krishna, Stu Bhagavan Swayam. Which Krishna? Krishna from Vrindavan, the son of Nanda Maharaj, the son of Mother Jashoda. So then in this Chaitanya Charitamrita, he gives a hint about that. And he cites verses, Krishna himself is speaking, And he's quoting Srimad Bhagavatam, and he's saying, speaking to the gopis, oh, devotional service rendered to me by living beings revives their eternal life. Oh, my dear damsels of Braj, your affection for me is your good fortune, for it is the only means by which you have obtained my favor. So he's talking about intimate love. He's talking about the gopis. Then he talks about, mother sometimes binds me as her son. She nourishes and protects me, thinking me utterly helpless. Then he talks about the special intimate love he has with his mother and father. And then, my friends climb on my shoulders in pure friendship, confidently saying, what kind of big man are you? You and I are equal. All right? So, taking these pure devotees with me, I shall descend and sport in various wonderful ways, unknown even in Vaikuntha. I shall broadcast such pastimes by which even I am amazed. Okay? So this is the confidential understanding of Krishna's appearance, because in the Srimad Bhagavatam, when it's relating the appearance of the Lord, actually the Lord is appearing simultaneously. He's appearing 2 times. He's appearing at once in Mathura, and that's what's being described primarily in Srimad Bhagavatam, and he's also appearing at exactly the same time in Vrindavan. In Mathura, he's appearing in his form as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, Vasudeva Krishna, but in Vrindavan, he's appearing in his original complete form as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the son of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. And the specialty there, now, if we're to read the Bhagavatam, the whole appearance as it takes place, step by step in Mathura, take us a long time. And that's not what I wanted to read. I wanted to give you something different that you generally don't get to hear. But I did want to explain what happens in Mathura as going on simultaneously as what's going on in Vrindavan. So, Krishna has decided to descend, and there is what's described in the Bhagavatam is that it is the appearance as he appears to Vasudeva and Devaki. So Vasudeva, he is a great devotee, and he's getting married to the beautiful Devaki. And Devaki is the sister of the evil king Kamsa, who has taken over the throne of Mathura, and factually he's defeated all the greatest kings on the planet, and even great demons and demigods. He's such a powerful king, and now he's ruling, but he's the brother of this wonderful devotee Devaki, who's just been married to Vasudeva. And as the brother of Devaki, he has agreed, oh, I'm going to drive the chariot and take them to the house of Vasudeva, the palace of Vasudeva. And so he's driving the chariot, and everything's going along. And there's great parade, horses, chariots, followed by Brahmins and maidservants. It's an incredible, beautiful display. But then all of a sudden in the sky, there's this celestial aerial voice. Kamsa, you are such a fool. You do not know that you are driving your sister, who has just been married, but the 8th son of that sister is destined to kill you. Kamsa, he's a psychopath. He has no moral boundaries at all. The only moral boundary he has is what is good for him and his reputation. As soon as he hears that, what? Her son's going to kill me. He grabs his sister by the hair, pulls out his sword, and is about to chop off her head. This is what kind of character he has. Vasudeva was very expert personality. As a Kshatriya, very learned, diplomatic, all good qualities. He knows he can't defeat Kamsa in a fight, but he tries to pacify him by diplomacy. And he says, look, you don't have to kill her. She's not the one that's going to kill you, but her 8th child will. I promise you that at the time of the birth of that child, I will deliver that child to you on my word as a Kshatriya, and you can kill that child if you want. Because he knew he had to save his wife somehow or other, and he thought maybe later something else will come up and we can adjust the situation. But for now, let me save Devaki. So Kamsa, he knew Vasudeva to be a truthful personality, and that he would not violate his word, so he somehow calmed down. And so it came to pass that Devaki was going to have a son. But at that time, Narad Muni came to Kamsa, and he had a special motive. He wanted to accelerate the appearance of the Lord and also contribute to these pastimes in a very special way. So he told Kamsa in a confidential way, oh, you know, that aerial voice, who did it come from? It came from the demigods. And you know you can't trust the demigods. They're allies of Vishnu. How do you know it's the 8th child? It could be any child that's going to kill you. You know, they could be trying to mislead you. Kamsa said, you're right. You're my friend. So he takes Devaki and Vasudeva and locks them up in prison so that he can oversee the birth of that child. So a child is born, a son. Vasudeva dutifully brings him to Kamsa. Kamsa says, oh, Vasudeva, you're so truthful. Okay, I'm not going to kill this son. It's the 8th son. So Vasudeva takes him back. But then Kamsa, encouraged by his ministers, has a change of heart. Hey, don't you remember Narad said, be careful? He goes in and he says, yeah, I'm not taking any chances. So he goes in and grabs the newborn child out of the arms of Devaki and smashes that child's head on the rocks and kills it. And this happens 6 times. 6 times. Every time a child is born, Vasudeva brings him, or Kamsa hears because they're in the prison, he comes and he kills the child. And then Devaki is pregnant with the 7th child, but somehow or other she appears to have a miscarriage, and that child isn't born. And then she has an 8th child. And the 8th child is coming and coming, and now Kamsa is really, really worried. And he can do nothing but think about this child day and night. He's always meditating, thinking about when this child will be born. This is a child, I should kill him in the womb right now. And he says, but if I do that, nobody kills a child in the womb. My reputation will be ruined. It's so irreligious. It's against all rules of society, of dharma. And even if I kill him and prevent my death, from that day on, my reputation will be stained. Better I be killed and maintain a high reputation than live and be known as a baby killer, killing my sister and the baby in its womb. But when it comes out, then I'll kill him. So he plans like that. And finally, at that very auspicious time, which is midnight tonight, all the constellations align, and this beautiful, extraordinary child appears, and appears before Vasudeva and Devaki fully as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Fully formed, all his 4 arms, ornaments, as Lord Narayan in the spiritual realm. Disc, conch, lotus, disc, conch, lotus, and what? Oh yeah, club. I'm gonna take a club with me. I'm useless now. Right. And Vasudeva and Devaki are astonished. And this Vasudeva Krishna, the son, explains to them that, oh, you've been my devotees for many, many, many births. And I've appeared to you 2 times before this. In the past, you did incredible austerities. in order to have me as your son. And I agreed to come as your son 3 times. And this is the 3rd birth. And I've appeared to you in this form so that you will know that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I have appeared as your son. So they had great affection for him, of course, full, pure love, but they also knew he was God. Despite that, they had this feeling that somehow or other we have to protect our son. So they begged him, somehow or other, we have to save you from Kamsa. Please take a form that he won't know that you've come and that you're not God. What do we do? So Krishna, this Vasudeva Krishna, assumed the form at that point of a small child, without ornaments, without all of these opulences, and instructed Vasudeva, take me to Vrindavan. Take me to Vrindavan, to the house of Nanda Maharaj. They have, Yashoda, his wife, has given birth to a daughter. Exchange me for her and bring her back here. So this is what he does. And just like now, it's raining when he goes. In fact, it's not just raining lightly, it's raining, it's pouring. The Jamuna River is flooded, it's raging. And how's he going to cross it? And yet, just like Lord Ram was able to cross the ocean to go to Sri Lanka, an animal, coyote or jackal, was seen to cross in a certain place, and Vasudeva realized, oh, I can cross there. And so taking this baby in a basket, carrying him up high, he begins to cross that special spot. But when he's in the middle, all of a sudden the water begins to rise around him. And he becomes so fearful for the child. Oh my goodness, he's holding up higher and higher and higher. And the water is swirling up around him. It's all the way up. It goes over his head. He's holding the baby up. And then the water goes up as high until it touches the toes of the little baby, Krishna. And then the water recedes. Because the Jamuna wanted to touch the feet of her Lord and Master, his Vasudeva Krishna. And then he's able to go unimpeded. And they don't get wet because as they're going, Ananta Shesh, unseen, is above and behind him, sheltering him from the rain and providing some light. So he gets to the house of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, the palace, and by the influence of Yogamaya, everybody's asleep. He goes in and he places his child on the bed next to Yashoda and takes the daughter, the girl. And he goes back. And when he goes back, now, you might wonder, well, how did he get in and out? This palace is guarded. He was in chains, guards at every door, the gates to the city all chained up. By the influence of Krishna's energy, the locks fell away, the guards had fallen asleep, and so he is able to leave and come back without notice. He comes back, he puts the leg irons on, and he gives the girl to Devaki, who puts her on her lap. And then the girl begins to cry, the guards wake up, Kansa's notified, now the one who's destined to kill me has come! And he runs in to kill him. But when he comes in, Devaki says, oh, please, brother, don't kill this girl child. And, girl child? What? What girl child? Oh, these demigods. There's no end to their lying, you know? And he comes with it for a minute, and then he grabs her and he's prepared to smash her on the rocks and kill her. And then she flies out of his arms into the air and assumes the form of Durga, the goddess, his own worshipable Lord, Mahamaya. Bhadrakali, very fierce looking. He said, Kamsa, you fool! The one who is destined to kill you has been born already somewhere else. And he becomes very submissive because, I mean, this is his own goddess. And he can't kill her, and she's not going to kill him. He doesn't know what to do. And then he goes to Devaki and Vasudeva, and he's very apologetic. But like a psychopath, he says that, oh, yeah, their sons were killed, but not by me. That was their fate. That was their karma. All of us have a certain amount of time destined to us. We're going to live and die. Nobody can overcome supreme providence. So, kind of let's kiss and make up. And Devaki is so soft-hearted, such a great devotee, she forgives her brother because he had some kind of remorse, twisted as it was. And she forgave him. And then Kamsa goes back, and he releases them, said, forgive me. Then he goes back to his ministers, and they say, what, you released him? That kid could be born somewhere, we have to get him, kill him. Somewhere in the last few days, this boy has been born. And so we should kill every child that's been born everywhere in your kingdom in the last 10 days. And you should lock them up again. So he locks them up again. And then son starts sending out his demons to kill. Now meanwhile, in Vrindavan, something totally different is happening. Totally different. And this is the birth of Swami Bhagavan Krishna, as described by Kavi Kanipur. And I can't read the whole, I don't know, it's so beautiful, it's so poetic. Now we just heard this fearful, scary pastime of Krishna appearing before Vasudeva and Devaki in that way to protect them. And in that form, when Krishna goes back and he takes that form again, when he's in Mathura and Dwarka, he's going to kill demon after demon. He's going to be the righteous incarnation who does kill demons and establish religion, more in the traditional way that he generally appears. But this appearance in Vrindavan, simultaneous to the other, is of a different nature altogether. Now, I'm going to read something from the Srimad Bhagavatam about that, just as a prelude and an introduction. And he says, Shukadeva Goswami, Tatascha Shari Bhagavat Prachodita Sutam Samadaya Susuptika Granat Yadabahirtantu Meyesha Yaja Yayoga Maya Janidanda Jayaya. Thereafter, exactly when Vasudeva, being inspired by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was about to take the newborn child from the delivery room, Yogamaya, the Lord's spiritual energy, took birth as the daughter of the wife of Maharaj Nanda. So first Krishna appeared, then his younger sister appears. So at the exact time that Krishna appeared before Vasudeva and Devaki, he was also born in his original form to Jashoda and Nanda Maharaj. But after that, after they had talked and discussed, then this girl child, who is later described as the younger sister of Krishna. Now this is important because she was born to Yashoda, right? So she wasn't born to Devaki. So she couldn't be the younger sister of Vasudeva Krishna. She had to be the younger sister of Krishna with Jashoda. And then there are other verses also, but this is hidden. Without the vision of the Acharyas, the fact that he was born in both places would be missed by us, missed by almost everybody. So Srila Prabhupada says, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur discusses that Krishna appeared simultaneously as the son of Devaki and as the son of Jashoda, along with the spiritual energy Yogamaya. As the son of Devaki, he first appeared as Vishnu. And because Vasudeva was not in the position of pure affection for Krishna, Vasudeva worshipped his son as Lord Vishnu. Jashoda, however, pleased her son Krishna without understanding his godhood. This is the difference between Krishna as the son of Jashoda and as the son of Devaki. This is explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on the authority of Hari Vamsha. So that is what we talked about in the very beginning, that Vasudeva and Devaki, And almost everybody else that has ever worshiped the Lord, they worship him from the vision of him being God, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and what that means. God is great, we are insignificant, he's all powerful, we are his dependent servants. We may have great love for him, but when they say pure love, they mean love that is not obstructed or crippled, as he said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, by knowledge of his greatness. Because when there's a position of inequality, if somebody is great and you're lesser, then that kind of love cannot find full expression. It's constrained. Like Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when Krishna revealed his universal form, Arjuna was overwhelmed by the power of the Lord, and he apologized even for considering him as a friend. Arjuna had a mood of friendship towards Krishna in Dwarka, and he knew that he was God, but sometimes that friendship was very strong. But ultimately, it was somewhat reduced. A real friend can be in a mood of complete equality at all times, and even sometimes saying, hey, I'm greater than you. Like Sridham and Krishna arguing, who won the wrestling match? Sridham said, I had you on your back. I defeated you. Krishna said, no, I was on my back, but my nose was up and your nose was down. Whoever nose is higher, that person wins. And they can argue like that. And one will have to take the other on their shoulders. Oh, you defeated me, I have to carry you. In Vrindavan, as we just heard Srila Prabhupada say, the Jashoda, the friends of Krishna, and especially the beloved Brajadevis, they have no knowledge of Krishna's Bhagavata, his godhood. They laugh at the idea. And this way their love is completely pure, like a mother, like a friend, or like a beloved. They only love Krishna for who he is as a beautiful person, all of his qualities, all of his humor, all of his beauty, everything that they discuss, but the idea of God never enters into it. In fact, we get this instance in the Bhagavatam where for a brief moment the cowherd men are considering that Krishna might be God. After he lifts Govardhan Hill, they come to meet with Nanda Maharaj, and they say, Nanda Maharaj, we have a doubt. Your son Krishna, since he's been born, he's been doing some pretty extraordinary things. And we overlooked that. But this last thing, we can't overlook. He lifted Govardhan Hill with his pinky and held it up effortlessly for a week. What child can do that? He can't be just your son. He's got to either be a great, great personality demigod, but we think he's God himself. We think he's God himself. Otherwise, how is this possible? He defeated Indra, the king of the demigods, effortlessly. Indra came to pray to him, and all the demigods, and Nanda begins to laugh. And he says, what? My son, God? All right, yes. Time to time he does something extraordinary. Gargamuni explained that. It's not that he's God, it's that sometimes God may enter into him and empower him. Our worshipable deity is Lord Narayan. He's protecting Krishna. Because Krishna, he lies, he steals other people's things, he does all kinds of crazy things. He gets hungry. If he's not fed, he screams and he wants food. He goes to other people's homes. He does so many things that God would never do. God's pure and righteous and all these things. That's not my son. And they said, and they were saying that you shouldn't chastise him. And for these things I have to chastise him. If not, who knows how he'll grow up. It's true, he may show these different powers time to time, but he's still my son. And I'll tell you, even if he were God, he's my son, and I'm going to correct him as he needs. He can't accommodate that. And in Mahaprabhu's Leela, Nanda Maharaj's Jagannath Mishra had the same encounter. One night in his dream, a powerful personality came and chastised him and challenged him about the way he would treat his son Nimai. Because sometimes Jagannath Mishra would chase Nimai with a stick. He'd get so angry at him because Nimai was so rascally and rebellious. And then they said, hey, you know, your son, he's a divine personality. You can't treat him like that. And Jagannath Mishra said, hey, he's my son. I'll treat him as he needs to be treated. Divine or not, it's my duty to raise him and raise him correctly. And this personality left very satisfied hearing the mood. So, this is how Krishna's Kavikarnapur discusses the appearance of Lord Krishna. We heard about the appearance from the perspective of knowing Krishna's godhood and how he shows himself to Vasudeva and Devaki, but Kavikarnapur doesn't want to know anything about Mathura or Dwarka. He's only concerned with the Vrindavan Leela of Krishna there, culminating and finding its highest expression in his loving dealings with the gopis. So, he says, now we will discuss the truth about the transcendental birthplace of Bhagavan and the appearance of Lord Sri Krishna. Once upon a time, Bhumi, the predominating deity of the earth, felt overburdened by different demons posing as members of the royal order. Feeling aggrieved upon seeing her miserable condition, the lotus-born Brahma appealed to Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, the maintainer of the universe, saying, please deliver Goddess Bhumi, who is feeling greatly distressed by these demoniac kings. Only you can remove this terrible influence from the earth. The time for an appearance of the Lord coincided with two internal desires of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. First, the Lord desired to descend on earth to increase the fortune of Yashoda and Nanda, these extraordinary parents, eternal parents. Also, at that time, Krishna wanted to relish the sweet mellow of Shringar Ras, paramour love, while enacting his worldly pastimes. For these two reasons, the Lord appeared within the material creation on the earth planet, Bhuloka, along with his parents, friends, and other eternal associates. So this is also mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. There are many more verses where Krishna explains how he wants to relish the Shringar Ras, but for the sake of time consideration, I just read one. But here he's saying he wants to give pleasure to Nanda and Yashoda and engage in splendid pastimes. What pastimes could he give them that they're not already engaged in the eternal realm, in the apricot Leela? Because the apricot Leela is going on always. But in this Leela, Nanda and Yashoda get to have the special experience of Krishna as a baby, and then as a little boy, and growing up through all the stages, which is the special joy of a parent. And all the different things that a parent would do, raising and protecting their child. This is part of his eternal Leela, but it's the speciality of the Prakrit Leela, the Leela that's manifest in this world. In the spiritual realm, Krishna is eternally in his Kishore form. And they know he's our son, they remember him being born, but it's only in the earthly Leela that they get to taste that and experience it, step by step. So special fortune for Yashoda and Nanda. And the Shringar Ras, the paramour love, also here, only in this realm, do the gopis have husbands like this, have the special conditions of being separated from Krishna in different ways. In the eternal realm, everything is there, but it's there in a different way. A lot of this is there in conception, but here, the reality of it is there, and this is described in much more detail in Gopal Champu, but again, just a little snippet of that. So, he appears with these eternal associates. Another distinction of Lord Krishna's earthly pastimes is that when the eternally liberated gopis, such as Srimati Radharani, Chandravali, and others appeared, the Shrutis personified also appeared in the homes of other gopis, because they had previously cultivated the desire to serve Sri Krishna as Braja Gopis. The Dandakaranya sages, upon seeing the sweet conjugal relationship of Lord Ramachandra and Sita Devi, and Sakya, married as husband and wife, desired to have the same relationship with their Lord Madan Gopal. Upon attaining perfection in their sadhana, they achieved the fortunate position of appearing as gopis in Vrindavan. And thus these different groups of gopis, Lord Ram had promised them, yes, I can't be with you in now because I've sworn to take only one wife. But in my incarnation as Krishna, when I appear in my original form, you will appear with me there. And there we will enjoy pastimes together. And in order to fulfill that boon, they prayed to the goddess Katyayani for that 1 month, all of these sages in their gopi forms, that please Krishna be our husband, or be our paramour. We don't care, even if we have another husband. And Krishna accepted them. And beautiful, beautiful pastime. So, and then Yogamaya, Lord Krishna's pastime potency, who possesses unlimited abilities, appeared invisibly in Gokul to arrange this and perform other difficult tasks on behalf of the Lord. So, Krishna is now descending, he's describing, from the spiritual world in his original form with his eternal associates and special devotees that are taking birth to enjoy with him in these unique relationships that are only there in Vrindavan. So first, Nanda, Jashoda, and others appeared in Mahavan before the Lord. The Gopas and the Gopis and other eternally liberated associates appeared after the Lord. Then those who had attained perfection by sadhana, the Shruticharis and Municharis, they took birth in Vrindavan. And not only them, but others as well. Krishna appeared for the benefit of so many different devotees in different places and times. Some took birth for the Vrindavan pastimes, some were going to meet him in Mathura and Dwarka. But he fulfills many different purposes. And even the demons that he killed in Vrindavan had been given curses by different sages that they had offended. Oh, you have to take this birth as this kind of demon, you have to be like that. Very terrible curses. But these demons who had, hearing these curses, showed some remorse, they said, okay, you have to be a demon. I can't take that away, but I benedict you that when Krishna appears in Vrindavan, he will kill you, and you will be freed, like Kaliya. Well, he wasn't killed, but he was given the benediction of being touched and purified by the Lord. Demons, other prominent demons like Vatsasura, Agasura, Putana, they had all offended great personalities in different ways, but were given this other benediction, that when Krishna appears, he will kill you and liberate you. And other pastimes like that. So, learning of Krishna's intimate appearance, the earth personified, feeling like a wife happily greeting her husband after long separation, was immersed in unlimited joy. At the time of Krishna's birth, the general mass of people tasted the inner bliss that devotees forever relish. Okay, now listen to this. This is really great. And in the Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada describes this time very beautifully. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat also, when Mahaprabhu appears, the earth goes through incredible transformation during that time. So, this is what's going on all over the world. At the time of Krishna's, and so when this midnight time is coming, you can remember this. at the time of Krishna's birth, the general mass of people tasted the inner bliss that devotees forever relish. Auspicious signs abounded everywhere. As Vishnu's conch shell, Panchajanya, opens in a clockwise fashion, similarly, auspicious sacrificial fires glowed in all directions. Remember, before this, the ability to perform yajna, to practice religion, all of this was being crushed and constrained. Now, all of a sudden, all these burdens were lifted, and all the Brahmins are finding it very easy to perform these, and they're very happy everywhere. And pure, gentle breezes brought a refreshing coolness, like devotees who satisfy and sanctify everyone with their calm, sweet, and affectionate behavior. The whole atmosphere became as completely purified as the heart of a devotee. The devotees once again found peace and prosperity in worshiping the lotus feet of Lord Hari. Fruits filled the jubilant trees. So even trees and everything, they were, sometimes when it's described when Krishna's present, the trees manifest their ecstasy by all of a sudden spontaneously blossoming with all kinds of flowers and fruits. But the envious demons, these are really the enemies of the Lord, they exhibited various inauspicious signs of degradation, such as rapidly aging bodies and symptoms of imminent death. Kamsa was going through these things. The desire vines of the celestial denizens seemed to be hanging in the air as if eager to produce fruits. At that time, all the directions felt as pure and joyful as the mind of a devotee who has received the mercy of Lord Hari. Just as gems and mantras or medicines can remove a poisonous disease from the body of a man, the advent of the Lord relieved the world from the contamination of material existence and the sinful effect of the demons. Happiness gradually replaced the distress in everyone's heart. So for this time, this is going on all over the world. Okay? So that we don't have records of history of that, but people were experiencing this. It may have been just during this brief time of his appearance, but the bodies of all creatures manifested extraordinary beauty and youthful vitality. Men felt extremely joyful and displayed virtuous qualities. Throughout the world, people behaved cordially and interacted amicably. Happiness twinkled in everyone's eye. At the end of Dwapara Yuga, which completely destroys faults and doubts, an auspicious, favorable, obstacle-free time appeared on the 8th day of the waning moon in Bhadra month. Just at that moment, the Rohini Nakshatra, along with the good qualities of the moon, and an auspicious conjunction of stars called Ayushman, appeared in the sky to give shelter to gentle persons. So he gives so many beautiful metaphors about this Sri Krishna, the personification of complete bliss, appearing amidst great festivities. And then, due to austerities performed in previous lives, Vasudeva and Devaki received the opportunity to momentarily relish parental affection for Lord Sri Krishna when he appeared before them in his form as Vasudeva. But thereafter, in fear of Kamsa, Vasudeva brought Vasudeva Krishna to Gokul. There the Supreme Lord appeared as Govinda before Nanda and Jashoda, his eternal parents, who have been smothering him with the sweetest form of parental love since time immemorial. So the four symbols of Vishnu adorned his hands and feet, this Shankh, Chakra, Gada, and Padma, but the flute, flower garland, and Kashtubhamani, although present within him, had not yet manifested. So what happened to that form that Vasudeva brought. There was two Krishnas then. Vasudeva couldn't see the other one because Yogamaya covered him. But that Krishna, the Vasudeva Krishna, was absorbed into the form of the original Krishna. In fact, that original Krishna carried all the avatars in his body, just as Mahaprabhu carries all the avatars. And the work of killing the demons and other things that are not part of the eternal activities of this Vrindavan itself, carried out by these incarnations within him. Mahavishnu kills the demons. Mahavishnu and his different avatars. Krishna himself, he simply enjoys with his associates. So, now, additionally, because of the fear of Kamsa, Vasudeva decided to transfer all of his wives, except Devaki, to Gokul. He sent Rohini to the house of Brajaraj Nanda. And by the sweet will of the Lord, Yogamaya arranged for the seventh child of Devaki, Balaram, to enter the womb of Rohini. And as a result, Balaram appeared in the home of Brajaraj Nanda just before the birth of Krishna. Just last week, in fact. 8 days prior, on the Purnim. This is a very amazing story, actually, that Rohini, she is one of the wives of Vasudeva. And when Devaki was pregnant with the seventh child, Rohini was also pregnant. But that pregnancy of Rohini was, by Yogamaya, was aborted. And Sankarshan Balaram was transferred from the womb of Devaki into the womb of Rohini. And then when she went to Vrindavan to be under the protection of Nanda Maharaj, that Balaram was in her womb. So she gave birth to the original Balaram. The Sankarshan that was transferred, that Sankarshan was originally in the womb of Devaki. That Sankarshan was along with Vasudeva Krishna, Vasudeva Sankarshan Pratubhinani Ruda, and he had prepared the womb of Devaki to receive Vasudeva Krishna, because he is the Sandini Shakti, the embodiment of the Dham. So he creates the environment of the Dham so that Krishna could appear. Then she comes to Vrindavan. And Rohini, she's received by everybody so gloriously, so wonderfully. And 8 days before, she gives birth to Baladev. And everybody's ecstatic, but still there's something missing. And that beautiful baby, Balaram, they do a reading for him. They tell about the amazing things he's going to do, the astrologer. They don't do the name-giving ceremony yet. That's going to happen a few days later for the both of them together. But this beautiful baby, although a source of joy for everyone, it's mentioned that still there's a certain dullness. And even the baby's not completely happy yet. Why? Because Krishna's not there yet. And Balaram and Krishna are always together. Always together. But there had to be some separation. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Nimai Pandit, and Nityananda Prabhu, there was always some waiting and unhappiness until they were able to meet together in their Leela. When the Sankirtan Leela was about to begin and Nityananda could finally join him, then they were fulfilled and happy. So, Mother Jashoda resembled a lake of spiritual ecstasy in which a brilliant blue lotus of personified bliss had appeared. Neither the wind nor the bees relished the fragrance of that blue lotus. That unborn lotus was never touched by the waves of the modes of nature. Even Lord Brahma could not see it, what to speak of ordinary men. After Jashoda and her family members fell asleep in the maternity room, Hari cried beautifully like a newborn baby. His crying sounded like the Mahavakya Omkara, announcing the auspicious arrival of his pastimes. Omkara is a transcendental vibration that had previously emanated from the mouth of Lord Brahma. And when the ladies of Vrindavan heard the sweet sound of Krishna's crying, they woke up and ran to see the Lord. With the mellow of their matchless, overflowing affection, they anointed his body. I'm just going to read a little bit of this and then explain a little bit of what Gopal Champu explains, and then stop because we have a schedule and you are going to want to be doing some kirtan and all. But actually there's hours and hours of description of the appearance and what happens after that. And just to give you a little taste, and you can be encouraged to read it yourself. We generally don't get to hear all this much during these days, because we're doing so many other things. So we're lucky that we have such a little festival going on here, And also we're gonna have a dance, right? What's your dance gonna be about? 2 dances, right? What's the dance gonna be about?
I'm doing one on Yashoda and Krishna.
All right, well, then let me get out of the way here. I know everybody wants to see the dance, so let me just say a few things. Plus, we don't want everybody all tired by the time the dance comes, or maybe when the dance comes, they'll become all enlivened.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to sit, and no matter how good it is, my attention does wane a little bit. So, just listen to this though, just a little bit of this. The natural fragrance of Krishna's body smelled just like musk. After the ladies bathed Krishna in sweet ambrosia, and he looked cleansed and beautiful. Then they smeared his body with fragrant sandalwood pulp. The presiding deity of the house sent a champak flower resembling the flame of a lamp into the maternity room to worship that ornament of the 3 worlds. With the strength of his little arms, delicate as the tender leaves of a tree, Krishna made all the lamps in the maternity room look like a garland of lotus flower buds. The ladies of Vrindavan saw baby Krishna like a blossoming flower made of the best of blue sapphires, or like newly unfurled leaves of a tamal tree. Krishna looked like a fresh rain cloud, decorated with the musk tilak of the goddess of fortune of the 3 worlds. The ointment of the greatest auspiciousness lined his eyes. His presence filled the maternity room with good fortune. Although a mere baby, Krishna had a head full of curly hair. To hide the unique signs on his hands, the Lord folded his delicate petal-like fingers into lotus palm. At that time, Krishna laid on his back with his eyes closed. So Mother Yashoda then looks over at Krishna. The body of Krishna, when it's described as blue sapphires, like that, not only is it giving off beautiful effulgence, but it's completely reflective. She could see her own reflection in his body. Thinking it to be another woman, she thought it might be some witch or somebody coming to harm the child. She's so bewildered by praying, she's overwhelmed in love, astonishing waves of love. Seeing that, she becomes afraid and says, "Go away, get away, get away." And she calls out to Nrsingadev. And she's got tears of affection, and she's leaning over, and milk is pouring from her breast. And this milk, this is her own love, it's described pouring out. It's not breast milk, just breast milk. It is her liquid love. This is what is in her breast. This is what she feeds him. And it's spilling over Krishna's beautiful red lips, some of it on his cheeks. She wipes it off, and then she sees other things. She sees this golden line of Lakshmi. She thinks it's what did she think that was? She thought it was some flower. She sees this that other mark, the Shrivats on his chest. She thought that was that little white curly hair. She thought that was breast milk, and she thought it was milk stains, but she couldn't wipe it off. This small golden line of Lakshmi, she saw that. She thought it was a yellow bird that had made a nest in the midst of a tamal tree. She was so bewildered, everything she saw. she was seeing all these other things and wondering. And then she sometimes saw that curly blue locks like swarm of bumblebees. Because what hair looks so beautiful like that? She'd never seen hair like that, and it reminded her of that. And one thing after another, all these incredible metaphors of the beauty of Krishna. And then Nanda Maharaj is informed. Nanda Maharaj comes, everybody's ecstatic. The wives of Upananda and his other brothers are standing outside the maternity room, and Nanda Maharaj is told, come and see your son. And they're out there and they say, oh, you want to see your son? They're all filled with bliss. Nanda's overwhelmed, he can barely walk. And they start to tease him and say, oh, if you want to see your son, then you have to give us this gift and that gift and this gift, very valuable gifts. Nanda says, everything, I give you everything, take. And they bring out the son and they show it to him. And then he becomes overwhelmed in these waves of love. And they sit him down and he puts the son on his lap. And he's so astonished. And then after some time he goes out and he starts giving charity. And he's giving more charity than he ever had. But somehow or other he has it to give. He's given millions and millions of cows and calves and mounds of jewels. It's described like mounds of jewels. Each Brahmin who comes gets mounds of jewels, rubies and emeralds and everything, and sapphires and gold, and said that he was giving so much in charity that everybody else, like the Surabhi cows and the Kalpavriksha trees and the ocean, everything that had any wealth at all was losing it all. They had nothing. They were dried up. Nanda Maharaj became the giver of everything that was to be given in the world. And he gave it out. He gave it out. And everybody's astonished and praising him. And still he's giving more and more. And then people start to come from everywhere. There were huge lines coming into the place from all directions. And ladies were beautifully dressed. Ladies that previously had not worn any ornaments. Because up until then, there was a long time when Yashoda could not bear a son, and everybody was so unhappy by that, they said, why do we have to dress opulently? Why should we wear ornaments? And they stopped it. But now that the son was born, they all took out their best clothes, the most beautiful ornaments, and they came dancing joyously, singing wonderful songs, bringing gifts, one after the other, unlimitedly. Demigods disguising themselves, also doing the same thing. And then they began to throw milk and yogurt and have a huge festival, like holy, but with milk substances. So much they were throwing that the drains in the city began to overflow. They couldn't even handle it all. And then demigods took the form of birds and began to fly down into the city and drink the milk and the charnamrita from the drains. It was charnamrita because it had been bathing the bodies of the eternal associates of the Lord. We drink the charnamrita from the lotus feet of our gurus. They're the eternal associates of the Lord. Can you imagine that? Drinking, I mean, just everywhere was this incredible charnamrita. So, and there's more and more and more. I mean, there's so much description here. But we're going to stop for now. And we're going to have a dance recital. We're going to have some beautiful kirtan and bhajans because you've so mercifully come to help us celebrate. So I'll stop here. And beholding the astonishing beauty of the delicate baby, even the society girls, the prostitutes, were overwhelmed with love. So anyway, and there's hundreds of pages. Every time I see a page, I want to tell more. But I'll stop here. Let's do this. Yeah. Figure this out. Yeah.
Sorry, well, just before the dance, actually, the kids want to present some of their art they've been doing while the class is
What?
going on. Yes.
Art?
So we have
Show!
Little presentation to today, our dear friends, Narayani's dear friends Saskia and Kieran Osel, all painted
Show to the
Krishna.
demons and gurus.
And we're presenting to Srila Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada and to Radha and Krishna on this beautiful Janmastami, Krishna's birthday. Would you like to tell us, Narayani? Do you want to talk about yours, Narayani? Okay, present for Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada.
Let's see.
Let's see.
Who's that?
It's Krishna.
That's Krishna.
Wow, so beautiful.
He's blue. And he's got a peacock feather. Yep, show it Prabhupada, show it Prabhupada, show it Srila Gurudev.
And I am baby Krishna.
Your baby Krishna?
Baby Krishna's today.
Your baby Krishna's friend, right?
No, I'm baby Krishna.
You're gonna be baby Krishna today? Okay, okay. I played baby Krishna many times, not baby Krishna, I played grown-up Krishna. And fighting demons and stuff.
What is this one?
Yeah, Saskia, what did you do?
Oh my God, what is that?
Trina Varta.
Trina Varta.
Wow.
That's the fire demon that cured me, and Krishna is blowing the fire.
Oh, he's swallowing the fire. No,
Sucking
sucking it.
Jai.
Wait,
Die.
what did Trina Varta do? He was the
Right.
wind demon, what did he do?
You guys remember the pastime? The one of these nine? Maybe Maharaj will tell.
Well, you know,
Turn around,
two
honey.
demons had already been killed. And so Trina Varta thought, what do I do? So he came in the form of a whirlwind, like a tornado. And he stirred up so much dust and dirt, nobody could see anything. And Mother Jashoda, by Krishna's desire, Krishna decided he knew the demon was coming. So he made himself really heavy, so that his mother couldn't hold him up. So she said, oh, I have to put my son down. So she put him down in a spot in the courtyard, went inside for just a moment, and then all of a sudden, the tornado came, the demon, and nobody could see anything. And Mother Jashoda's crying, where's my son, where's my son? She sounded like a cow looking for a calf. She was wailing. And then the demon, he picked up Krishna and started taking him up higher and higher and higher in the sky. And Krishna was actually enjoying this. You know why? Because he'd been looking up in the sky before this, and he saw the birds flying. And he said, oh, these birds, they can see all of my Vrindavan. And I can't, I'm stuck in the house, because I'm just in a little boy body. I want to see Vrindavan as it is. I want to see the Jamuna. I want to see Govardhan. I want to see all the forests. So the demon took him so high that Krishna was able to see everything, and he was very happy. And then he thought, all right, I've had my fun, and now it's time to dispatch this demon. And he pretended like a little boy to be afraid. And he started clutching the neck of the demon very strongly, like he was afraid, he didn't want to fall. And the demon was going, and the demon saying, you're trying to kill me. And Krishna said, what fault is mine? I'm afraid, I'm holding on. You brought me up here. And he starts choking him so much, the demon, and his eyes start to protrude. I can't breathe. It's getting heavier and heavier. His eyes flop off him. And he dies and he falls to the ground. Bam! He hits a rock. And when he hits this rock, the demon's body goes crack. But Krishna's sitting on top, so he's cushioned. And so he's sitting there and he's playing on this big, ugly demon's dead body. And everybody comes running, and Mother Jashoda, it's like her life returned. That's Trina Varta.
Thank you, Maharaj. Krishna Janmastami ki
Jai.
Little kids of Bhakta Bandhavdam ki
Jai.
Jai.
So we're gonna have a beautiful dance performance by Kamala Kumari Devidasi.
want a
And
light? Can you-
we're gonna be performing, she's gonna be performing this way, so if everyone can gravitate this way, facing here, we can come close this way, because she'll be using this space, so come this way, come forward. We can all sit in front of our Maharajas. So we can,
That's cute.
and you guys,
These books back.
and you guys can all sit, yeah, you can all sit in the green, you can sit in, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, so this will be there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so beautiful.
Oh, Mom, is that Krishna over there? Is he?
Kieran, can you hold your fire blue for one picture for Taurasi? No, Ryan.
That's not my fire blue.
Oh,
I want to get my photo off.
Ryan, honey, sit down for a picture.
I don't think I would like blue.
Okay. All right, we've been hearing a lot about this dancer.
Here we go. Why is it gonna stop?
There's so many audience members, I get to see
I
some
want to do it
demons.
again.
I've never had a demon in my performance before. Today's a special day.
I'm Krishna.
Oh, and baby Krishna.
Why don't you come on, you could dance for me because I'm Krishna.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
Everybody else gonna perform, Mama?
Okay, so I just want to give a brief description beforehand. I'm performing today in the classical style of Bharatanatyam, and this piece is a very classic piece on baby Krishna. It's written by the Saint Purandara Dasa of Karnataka, and it's in the Kannada language. So because we don't understand Kannada, I'll give a description of the words. So the song says, Jagadodharana Adisidare Yashoda. Even though he is Jagadodharana, he is the one who upholds and maintains the three worlds, he is being played with by Mother Yashoda. So it's constantly going back and forth, this paradox of who Krishna is. He's of the entire world, he is the Lord. Of the three universes, he's the one who upholds. He's the highest of high. Yet he's the tiny baby of Mother Yashoda. And when my teacher taught me this was her creative input. That he showing the Dasavataram, that showing that he is Matsya. Yet Mother Yashoda takes him and shows him a fish as if it's his first time seeing a fish. As Kurma, he lifts the entire Mount Meru on his back. Yet, as his mother Yashoda takes him and easily carries him on her shoulders. As Varaha, he carries the entire globe on his tusks like it's a ball. But as Mother Yashoda, she plays ball with him, and she is surprised that he's able to catch it. Wow, look at his coordination. He's so skilled. As Nrsimha, he's so ferocious, half lion, he's so ferocious that even the demigods were afraid of him. Yet when little small baby Krishna is afraid, it is Mother Yashoda that comes, oh no, are you scared? And she comes and she comforts him. As Vamana, he grows in size so much that his steps cover the entire three worlds. But as Mother Yashoda, she teaches him to walk as if it's his first time. It goes on to say that he's smaller than the smallest, even smaller than the atom, and he is the bigger than the biggest. He cannot be compared. He cannot be compared in any way to any other form. And yet he is the small, tiny baby of Mother Yashoda.
Who wrote this?
Purandara
Oh,
Dasa.
Purandara.
Purandara Dasa, yeah, of Karnataka.
Do you know his story? He's supposed to be an incarnation of Narad Muni.
I didn't know that.
He wrote, they have over 500 songs of him.
Yeah.
There's some really interesting stories about him. Yeah, he's a very mystical person. Yeah, his songs are beautiful.
Yeah. I've learned, my teacher has taught me a few of them. They're
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Every Janmastami we'd have down there, we'd have some classical band and they'd be doing rundown songs. And, you know, they keep time like this, they go, beautiful songs.
Yes, exactly. At the end of the piece, I depict the story of when Krishna ate dirt, and when Malay Shoda sees inside of his mouth and sees the entire universe there. So that's how the piece is.
Oh.
It's kind of a quick part, but a little long. Anyway.
Are you gonna amplify this music?
We just have a speaker here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, can you use
If you wanna
We
hook it
put
up
the
to the
mic
mic.
on the speaker.
It's a small room, but yeah.
No, I don't want to sit with you.
Okay.
ಆಡಿಸಿದಳೆ ಶೋಧೆ ಜಗದೋಧಾರಣ ಆಡಿಸಿದಳೆ ಶೋಧೆ ಜಗದೋಧಾರಣ ಆಡಿಸಿದಳೆ ಶೋಧೆ ಜಗದೋಧಾರಣ ಆಡಿಸಿದಳೆ ಶೋಧೆ ಜಗದೋಧಾರಣ ಆಡಿಸಿದಳೆ ಶೋಧೆ ಜಗದೋಧಾರಣ
It was so nice you gave the explanation before, the translation. I couldn't remember all of it, but I could, but it helped a lot.
Yes, we're all gonna do kirtan and dance.
Mom's
Oh.
gonna dance.
So first I can do this.
I never used to know what was going on with all of this. And
Yeah.
now I got a clue.
Yeah, unless you have some information, it's hard to know.
But then, then it all of a sudden it becomes intuitive, you know?
Yeah.
Once you get a few little descriptions.
It's a language, so once you
It is a language.
once you know the pastime or what the concepts are.
Yeah, but some of the past, like, she did Yashoda and binding Krishna, right? But did you get, was the last one, you know, tying Krishna to the mortar?
The last one was the eating dirt, but there
Oh,
was,
the eating the dirt.
there was some anger and
Grabbing him.
Yeah.
Oh, cause I thought he was doing like this, okay, I thought it was maybe he's eating his yogurt and the monkeys and all that.
Right.
And then, cause he's like, oh, I thought she tied him up.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's close.
He's the opening the mouth.
Yeah.
The world, the universe is like.
Oh, right, of course.
That's.
Yeah.
Impromptu, so, what to do?
I think they're only trying to be,
That thing's loud.
Yeah.
What is that? What,
It's a JBL.
yeah, that's pretty good.
Later tonight. So we're watching
Take this stuff into my-
Narayani.
I wanna be here for kirtan. I wanna be here for all the singing. Where should I go now, Mama?
I'm not sure.
Okay, then I'll see you.
Careful, feet toward the altar, please. Can you get up?
You're gonna do kirtan, and then nice dance, Narayani.
Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna